because I said before the season, are the Lakers a team, they bought in all those veteran guys, are they a team trying to make the playoffs, or they're trying to figure out what young guys they're going to have going forward? So I said from day one, this thing wasn't going to work. And Jalen knows this. You can't be trying to win and develop young guys at the same time. It's either got to be A or B. It can't be A and B. And I thought from the beginning they put Luke Walton in a bad situation. The team was going to be, everybody says, well, before LeBron got hurt. Well, you have to go back and look at the schedule. That was the easiest part of their schedule. The Lakers had the toughest stretch finishing up. That was always going to be the key, whether they finish 5, 6, 7, or 8. But this thing has been screwed up from the beginning. The Lakers need to make a decision. Were they trying to make the playoffs, which they're not going to, or we're trying to develop our young nucleus? And they didn't have a game plan, and that's why it's not working.
Charles, who do you blame for the Lakers' debacle this year?
That's a great question, Jalen. Like I say, I blame the organization because, you know what, they had no direction. Like I say, we always talk about all the good young players, Ingram, Ball, Hart, Kuzma. Those guys, and then you bring in JaVale, Lance, Rondo, Michael Beasley, and, you can't play everybody. And you know how those veteran guys are, Jalen. They're not here just to stand around and watch the young guys play. So, like I say, I blame the organization for not having a direction. Like I said, you either have to make a decision. Are we trying to win now, or are we trying to win going forward with LeBron? Let's figure out who we're going to have forward are these young guys. And they've screwed that up totally.
Charles Barkley is with us on Get Up. Next thing I wanted to ask you about, we saw the Warriors lose terribly last night at home to Boston. And I know you were watching earlier. We had a conversation about some of the things that don't seem quite right with them. I guess I would ask the question this way. Do you think they are vulnerable in the playoffs this year?
Yes, because it seems to me like they're disinterested. The Andrew Bogut thing brings a red flag to me. With all the talent they got, with Boogie Cousins, and everything that everybody says, well, they got Boogie now, they're unbeatable. For them to, right at the end of the season, they feel like they needed more help, that's a red flag to me. It tells me they need some stability in the locker room. They want some guy. That to me is a red flag. I got to admit that.
Mm. And then, Charles, the real reason that we said we wanted to get you on here primarily this morning was in the wake of all the stuff that's been happening, the comments that Kyrie Irving has made and some others have, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, when speaking at the Sloan Analytics conference over the weekend, talked about, for lack of a better way of putting it, the mental health of the league. And I thought what he said was fascinating. Let's all listen to this together.
I think part of it is a direct product of social media.
Yes.
And I think those players we're talking about, when I meet with them, what strikes me is that they are truly unhappy.
They are truly unhappy. NBA players truly unhappy. Charles Barkley, you're a Hall of Famer. What's your reaction?
I think that's probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard Adam say. And listen, he's a great guy, but that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of any commissioner say. Listen, Greeny, these guys are making $20, $30, $40 million a year. They work 6, 7 months a year. We stay at the best hotels in the world. They ain't got no problems. That's total bogus. And let me tell you something else. Kyrie Irving, I don't know him that well. He seems like a good kid. But I've never seen a person so miserable, to have so much success, to have the world in the palm of his hand. He's going to make $40, $50 million a year for the next 10, 15 years. He's already won a world championship. He's in the movies. But he's got to be one of the most miserable people I've ever seen. He wanted to go to Boston because he wanted to have his own team. And what a lot of these guys don't understand is when you're a star, and I've been a star, you get all the credit, but you get all the blame. That ain't right. That ain't fair. That's just how it is. That's the way this whole thing works. You know, nobody runs to Jaylen Brown or the Morris brothers or Gordon Hayward. They're going to come to Kyrie Irving after every game. That's the responsibility with being a great player, being a star. And like I say, we can all get on television and complain about oh, I can't wait to get away from this. Like, no, dude, we're paying you $40 million a year. You ain't never gonna get away from this. And if your team if your team don't win, like, listen, as a guy who was a star, Greedy, have I ever heard you say the Ceballos didn't win the championship? Mm-hmm. Have I ever heard you say Mark West didn't win the championship? What does everybody say? Charles Barkley didn't win the championship. I got to accept that. I got to live with that. But that's just how this thing works. Nobody said Mark West is one of the greatest guys I ever played with in my life. But I've never heard anybody get on TV and say, man, that Mark West didn't win the championship.
You've got the entire studio hysterical laughing, Charles, but he's making an extremely important and very good point.
Charles, what do you think about the way players, in particular Kevin Durant and Kyrie, are handling the conversations as it relates to their free agency that's pending this summer?
Well, I think if I'm a New York Knicks fan, I'm leery, because if you can't play in Cleveland and Boston, Oklahoma City, and San Francisco, you cannot take the heat in New York. Greeny, you know firsthand. You've been a New York person your whole life. Mm-hmm. In New York, you think it's hot in that frying pan. Wait till you get to New York. I think both of these guys have handled it awful. They could have said day one, hey, I'm not going to discuss free agency, and it would have been over. Instead, they want to talk about it every single day. And then when you guys ask them about it every single day, they complain about it every single day. They should have said at training camp, hey, I'm not going to discuss free agency. And if you ask me anything about free agency for the rest of the season, I'm going to say next question and keep it moving. They both handled it awful. And they think, listen, let me tell you something. I've been around a long time. Those two guys in New York City would be must-see TV every week, especially if they're losing.